Welcome, everybody. We start today with a really sad moment. It genuinely makes me sad that this is where we are. You stop and you ask yourself, who the hell is actually running the White House right now? And we don't have an answer. Now, for all of Joe Biden's failings, he was slowing down. He looked really old. He didn't seem to have the energy. For all of those failings, we didn't have situations with Joe Biden where he just simply said, I don't know anything about that. I don't know. This is the first I'm hearing of it. And yet we have that not once, but multiple times a day with Donald Trump. And the latest only brings up even more of those questions. Let me build up to that. Donald Trump taking a few questions, sitting in the Oval Office desk yesterday. First topic was the Signal fiasco, Pete Hegseth, demands for resignations, etc. And Trump says, I don't know why you would blame Hegseth for anything. The problem seems to be that Signal app. Trump actually suggesting maybe it's the app that's defective, and that's the reason for all of this chaos, if you can imagine a sillier claim.
Should Secretary Hegseth consider his position over the Signal?
Hegseth is doing a great job. He had nothing to do with this. Hegseth. How do you bring Hegseth into it? He had nothing to do. Look, it's all a witch hunt. Here we are talking about some of the greatest business deals ever made. The greatest companies in the world are moving into the United States, and you want to ask about whether or not Signal works. I don't know that Signal works. I think Signal could be defective, to be honest with you. And I think that's what we have to, because you use Signal and we use Signal and everybody uses Signal, but it could be a defective platform, and we're going to have to find that out.
Trump doesn't even know what Signal is. He just a couple days ago, he hadn't even heard of Signal. And he says Hegseth had nothing to do with it. Hegseth leaked detailed American military plans in a Signal chat. It included weapon systems. It included the exact timing down to the minute of strikes that were planned on the Houthis. And Trump's response is basically he's doing great. The app must be defective. That's not a defense. Sounds almost like you would see in an SNL skit making fun of this situation if the skit were written by someone with a concussion. The only thing Trump cares about really are tariffs, TV, and golf. And he seems so checked out of his job that he doesn't even seem to know or acknowledge that Pete Hegseth needlessly disclosed the weapons packages and the timing of attacks on the Houthis. But there's a worse part of this that really leads us to say, who is in charge and what is Donald Trump doing? 4 American troops died in Lithuania. News of it was reported hours before this late afternoon, early evening event with Donald Trump. And when Trump is asked about it, he says, I haven't heard a thing about it.
But it could be a defective platform, and we're going to have to find that out.
Have you been briefed about soldiers in Lithuania?
Say it?
Have you been briefed about the soldiers in Lithuania who are missing?
No, I haven't.
He claims he hasn't been briefed about it. Doesn't seem very worried about it either. Hours after the lives of troops were lost, Trump sits there and he goes, haven't heard a thing about it. This is the guy who knows within a minute if some D-list actor said something mean about him on Twitter. But 4 American service members die overseas, and he's wandering around like someone unplugged his brain. And maybe the even bigger problem is that no one told him. And this really gets us to, the allegation. I have this weird thing going on with my hair here, and it's extraordinarily distracting. I just fixed it. The show will be much better now that I address that. I think back to the claims they made about Biden. Someone else is really in charge. Biden doesn't know what's going on, and yet Biden was never unaware hours after major events of relevance like service members dying. Biden never said, nobody's told me about it. And the fact that let's assume Trump's telling the truth, right? Because sometimes Trump goes, oh, this is the first time hearing about it because he doesn't want to talk about it. I don't think that's the case. Trump genuinely seems to have no idea. Look, does this look like the face of a guy who has an idea? I think that the bigger issue, arguably, is that the White House is sort of in a vicious cycle of doom where people aren't telling Trump things because they know he'll either explode or forget what they said. So they don't tell him about it. So Trump's not informed, which of course only perpetuates that he is increasingly just a figurehead. Understand the sequence. Trump didn't know about the signal leaks. He didn't know about the soldiers dying in Lithuania. He blames the messaging app for a breach of classified information or information that is supposed to be classified. And meanwhile, he has a cabinet that's either too afraid or too checked out to keep him informed. And it's a national security disaster masquerading as a presidency. Don't forget, by the way, when 4 Americans died in Benghazi, Republicans held 10 investigations, a full select committee, and demanded hours and hours of Hillary Clinton's testimony. Years of hearings. We have 4 troops dead, military secrets, weapon system usage and timing are leaking, and Trump has no idea about most of it and then is blaming Signal, sort of like your uncle is convinced that he did something on Facebook and just something mysterious happened and you don't know why, when of course it's user error. So again, the question isn't what happened, it's who is even in charge here, because Trump does not seem to have any idea what is going on. Now, I don't know the answer, but a plausible one would be that it's the yes people that Trump has around him that are in charge. I mean, there's another aspect to the Signal thread. Trump's not in the Signal thread. Now, I know you would say, well, why would you expect him to be in it? No, I got it. But the point here is the decisions and the communication all seems to be happening not only not involving Trump, but without Trump even being aware that it's going on. This is exactly what they said was going on under Biden, but it's happening under Donald Trump. Big companies with poor security get hacked every day, and your personal information is being sold on the dark web so criminals can target you. Not something I have to worry about as much since I have Aura. Our sponsor, Aura, vigilantly scans the dark web to see if any of your personal information has been leaked, like login credentials or addresses, social security number. Aura also will alert you in real time if any criminals use that information fraudulently, for example, to try to open a credit card. And to keep you from getting hacked in the first place, Aura offers additional safety features like advanced anti-malware and password management for every device you have. And your subscription comes with $5 million in identity theft insurance just in case. Aura even provides parental controls to let kids explore the internet safely, with tools to filter harmful sites, manage apps, and limit screen time. Go to aura.com/Pacman to try it for 2 weeks, totally free. With the free trial, it takes only seconds to see if your personal data has already been compromised. Protect yourself and your family now. The link is in the description.